Okay, so have you ever thought about, like, all the ways your information could be out there?
Yeah.
You fill out a form or buy something online, and then bam, years later, it pops up somewhere you never expected.
Yeah. It's really something.
Today, we're looking at a case that shows how our data can be connected and how something like an old insurance claim can come back to bite you.
It's fascinating. Even everyday things can leave these trails of information, and it can affect your digital security later on.
Exactly. Today, we're diving into a complaint by Carolina Mage against CIC General Motor Deserin,
The insurance company.
yeah, and the NTSA, the National Transport Safety Authority.
Got it.
So the issue here is the sharing of her vehicle logbook details after a car accident
Yeah.
and how it seems to have led to her e-citizen account being hacked years later.
E-citizen.
It's like the government's online platform for all sorts of services.
Okay.
Our goal today is to figure out what happened,
Mm-hmm.
understand the data commissioner's findings. They're the ones who investigated this, and see what it all means for our own data privacy in our daily lives.
Sounds like a plan.
We're going straight to the source for this one, the official determination on the complaint.
Straight to the source. I like it. So what information did Carolyn actually give to the insurance company when this whole thing started?
Back in 2016, Caroline got car insurance with CIC General Motor Deserin. She gave them the usual documents, copies of her vehicle logbook, or KRAPN, that's like a tax ID number here in Kenya, and her national ID card.
Standard procedure.
Yeah, then in December of that year, her car was in an accident, and it was totaled.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she filed a claim, submitted her original logbook, and the insurance company paid her.
Seemed like the end of it, right?
Well, not quite. Fast forward almost 8 years to February 2024. Carolyn gets a weird call, someone asking for permission to transfer the written-off vehicle.
What?
Yeah, she was suspicious because she didn't know the caller, and she knew these things need proper verification, not just a random phone call.
Smart move. So this phone call seems like it was the start of a much bigger problem for Caroline.
Yeah, it was. Soon after, she got a notification from eCitizen with a password reset code. Someone had gotten into her account, changed her email address, and then reset her password using the new email.
Oh, wow.
She was locked out of her own account.
That's a huge problem with so many government services on eCitizen.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And it got worse. Just a few hours later, she got another notification, this time from the NTSA, saying her totaled car had been transferred to a new owner.
So they hacked her eCitizen account and used it to transfer ownership of a car that was totaled years ago.
Exactly. Carolyn reported everything to the DCI, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations. They found something interesting. The new logbook for the vehicle hadn't been printed yet, so they were able to stop the transfer.
That was lucky.
Yeah, and the DCI also traced the login to her eCitizen account to the Kericho-Bomet area.
Wait, that's pretty far from Nairobi where she lives, right?
Yeah, which means someone in that area was accessing her account.
That's a bit creepy. So what did the insurance company say about all this? How did they explain what happened?
CIC General Motor Deserin claimed they gave up control of the vehicle and the logbook way back in 2017.
Before the hack in 2024.
Yeah, they said that after they paid out the claim in 2017, the NTSA took the totaled car and sold it in a public auction.
Okay.
And in February 2017, they say they released the car and the logbook to whoever bought it at the auction.
Okay.
Then in 2020, this buyer apparently sold the car again. The new buyer contacted CIC asking for help with the online transfer process through the NTSA. CIC admits to contacting Caroline in 2020 asking her to do the online transfer herself.
So they're saying they were just helping out the new buyer.
Yeah, but they deny hacking Caroline's eCitizen account or the NTSA portal.
So they claim they weren't involved in the hack. What did the NTSA say?
The NTSA's response was pretty straightforward. They said that as soon as Caroline reported the fraud, they put a hold on the transfer to prevent anything else from happening.
Good.
And they told her to contact eCitizen support to get back into her account.
That makes sense.
The NTSA insisted that their systems weren't breached. They said they processed the transfer based on what seemed like consent through eCitizen, even though we know it wasn't real consent, and that they followed the Data Protection Act.
So they're basically saying they did everything by the book and the problem wasn't on their end?
Right. So then the data commissioner started their own investigation. And this is where it gets interesting. They found some problems with the insurance company's story.
Oh.
Yeah, first they confirmed that CIC General Motor Deserin didn't keep the totaled car, even though the paperwork suggested they did.
Okay.
They actually sold it directly to someone else, and they shared Carolyn's information with the buyer.
Without her knowing.
Yeah, that's a key point. The paperwork said one thing, but the reality was different.
And that's a problem for data privacy. The timing of this is important too, right?
Definitely. They shared her info in 2017 before the Data Protection Act came into effect.
Right.
But the unauthorized access to her eCitizen and NTSA accounts happened in 2024 after the act was already in place.
Uh-huh.
That's a crucial detail in the Data Commissioner's findings.
So what was the final verdict? What did the data commissioner decide?
The Data Commissioner found CIC General Motor Desirun responsible for violating Caroline's right to information under the Data Protection Act.
Because they shared her data without telling her.
Yeah, they should have told her how they were going to use her information, including telling her they might share it with others to get rid of the damaged car. They didn't do that, and they didn't get her permission to share her data.
What about when they contacted her in 2020 to do the online transfer? Didn't that count as consent?
The Data Commissioner said no, that wasn't good enough. They didn't get proper consent from Caroline back in 2017 before sharing her info with the buyer.
I see.
They also didn't have any other legal reason to share her data. The NTSA, though, they were found not responsible.
Really?
The Data Commissioner said they acted quickly to stop the transfer when they found out about the fraud.
That's good. So what happened after the ruling? What were the consequences for the insurance company?
CIC General Motor Desirun had to pay Caroline 250,000 Kenyan shillings as compensation. Yeah, and they also got an enforcement notice. Basically, they have to change how they handle data so this doesn't happen again. The complaint against the NTSA was dismissed. Both CIC and Caroline can appeal the decision to the High Court if they want to.
So for our listeners, what are the big takeaways from this
It
case?
shows how important it is to understand what happens to your data. You give information for one reason, like an insurance claim, and it can end up being used for something completely different, like selling your damaged car. It also shows how important the Data Protection Act is and your right to know how your data will be used. You have the right to know what happens to your information.
This case also highlights how things can go wrong when transferring ownership of cars, especially damaged ones. We need strong and transparent systems so this doesn't happen again, where old logbook information is used to hack into accounts years later.
Another important point is that even if data was shared before the Data Protection Act was a thing, any actions or problems that happen after the act is in place are still covered by the law.
So to sum it up, the insurance company was held responsible for sharing data about a totaled car years after the insurance claim was settled.
Yeah, that's a big deal. It makes you think about all the times you give out your information, maybe online or filling out forms. What happens to that information over time? It's a reminder to be aware of your data privacy rights and the possible long-term effects of sharing your information. Things are always changing with data privacy, so it's important to stay informed and protect yourself.
Absolutely. You never know where your data might end up.
Exactly. That's something to think about.